For me, it's about the law and people. How am I supposed to quantify the value of these things when I don't have evidence?
I'm sorry.
And how people can resolve their problems and just be better for it.
Justice with passion.
I always knew I was going to go into law because I tried to see everybody's point of view in an argument. You say one thing, she says another. So who am I to believe?
Justice with truth.
Either you make the decision or I make the decision. You won't like mine.
This is Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Ethan Caldwell is suing Marcus Reed in the amount of $12,500. Mr. Caldwell claims he and his late father restored a classic car and says his friend destroyed the valuable vehicle when he used it to rescue his girlfriend during a fire.
Okay, Mr. Caldwell, you are suing your friend, Mr. Reed, in the amount of $12,500.
That's right, Your Honor.
And this has to do with a car that your father left you.
A 1967 Shelby Cobra.
Beautiful. Why don't you tell me what happened? I mean, I've read your statements, but in your own words, tell me what happened, please.
That car is everything to me, Your Honor. My dad brought that home when it was a piece of junk, and throughout my entire life, it was me and him working on that car. I sat on his lap, and he would put his hands around my hands when I would hold onto that wheel, and I would know, like, we're gonna work on this car for a long time, and we did. Years and years I worked on that with him, and that became our way of bonding. Mm-hmm. My father was a firefighter, so he would come home from work and work on the car, and that is the time I got to see him. So this car means a lot to me.
Okay, and I understand it was valued at how much?
$90,000.
$90,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow. So you kept this car, the car was finished, completed by you and your dad. You kept the car at home in your apartment?
I kept the car at home. My father passed away, and he left me the car, and I continued to work on it for 4 years until I got it running recently.
Okay, perfect.
I have the amount that isn't covered by my insurance.
Okay, so I know we're going to get, so just to get to the nitty gritty, I know the car was destroyed, and we're going to get to that and discuss that with the defendant, Mr. Reed. The car was valued at $90,000, and your insurance paid you how much?
$80,000.
$80,000. So you are suing for the $12,500 for the remaining balance.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the $2,500.
That is part of the customizations I put onto the car that weren't covered by the insurance as well.
All right. Why don't you give Cinder that evidence, please?
Give me the other picture as well.
Okay.
So continue, Mr. Caldwell. So what happened?
So, Your Honor, Marcus took my car without...
You guys are roommates, friends?
We're best friends.
Best friends.
We've known
How long
each
have
other.
you known each other, Marcus? Wow, that was a beautiful car.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How long have you known each other, Marcus?
We've known each other for at least 20 years.
20 years, that's a long time. How long had you been living together?
Well, we've been living together, I would say, most of that time. I recently also found my own place where I was able to live.
So you lived together for like 20 years?
I would say roundabout.
Did he
His home was
live
pretty
with your
much my
family?
home.
Explain that.
Yes, at first he didn't. At first he was mainly just at our place because he didn't really have a place to go.
Okay.
His home was not the same.
Okay.
And my dad was a very charismatic person, and he treated everybody like he was their own father.
Okay.
And I respect that relationship he had with my dad.
So Marcus, you essentially were welcome to the Caldwell home, and you lived there.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I understand you had also a very close relationship with Ethan's father?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. And they just took you in?
Pretty much, he was the father that I wish I had when I was growing up, and pretty much the man that I am today is because of Jack, Mr. Caldwell. And,
So you guys are like brothers, basically?
Yes, Your Honor.
So then after Mr. Caldwell, your father, passed away, you guys continued living together? You roomed together?
Well, after that, our relationship I wouldn't say it was strained, but then, dealing with the loss of Jack, it kind of put a
strain between you two?
A little strain between us, but still we maintained our communication. We
focused
still
on
loved
the
each
car.
other. Okay. And I decided to move out.
Did you ever help him work on the car?
I did, Your Honor. I helped him out. Of course, I wasn't as talented, as gifted as he is with his work, but I would help, polish the hood.
As much as you could.
As much as I could.
All right, so you understood the sentimental value as well as the financial value of the car.
Yes, Your Honor, I understood both of those things.
All right. So then why don't you tell me, Ethan, what happened on the day that the car got destroyed?
I was at work that day, and I noticed on Instagram that Marcus posted a photo at the Malibu fires after he's taken my car to go help his girlfriend.
So he posted a picture of himself on Instagram?
Yes, Your Honor, with my car.
Coming up on Justice for All.
So then I understand you had to abandon the car?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we had to abandon the car on one of the highways after we had reached a point where I could not use it anymore.
Your Honor, I had to force him out of the car. I mean, we stayed until the longest point.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Ethan Caldwell, who is suing Marcus Reed for property damage.
What happened after that?
After that, he rescued his girlfriend but abandoned my car.
How did you find out about it?
Well, he called me later that night and just told me about what happened. But I also know that there were other opportunities he had to get cars from neighbors, yet he chose to take my car. And he knows
what do you
what it
mean
means
he had
to me.
other opportunities from neighbors? Explain that.
I was told by him that his neighbors said that they offered their van, another person offered a truck, and he insisted that he take my car instead and said that those cars aren't going to handle it.
Why wouldn't those cars? Okay, explain to me, Marcus. You're an EMT. You understand the danger. I mean, the Malibu fire just was one of the worst things that could have happened to California.
That's right.
You know that probably roads are closed. There's evacuation orders already pending. You're
correct.
watching the news just like every other person, not only in California, but the rest of the United States, gripped at the television, like watching this.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
decide to go and rescue your girlfriend. That was the only option.
Yes, Your Honor, I actually have some evidence to kind of help illustrate what
Okay,
happened
well, just
that
explain
evening.
to me. You can give Cinder your evidence, but I need
Okay.
to understand the urgency
That's
of,
correct.
of
Okay.
putting yourself at risk.
Thank you.
Putting yourself at risk.
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing, I mean, you're an EMT, you know the roads were closed,
That's right.
evacuation orders, we're watching it on the news. They're telling people, do not go in there.
That's correct,
Everybody evacuate, everybody leave.
That's right.
But you decide to go in anyway.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Why?
Well, at about 2000 hours, Your Honor, there was a notification that was sent out that we should be on standby for mandatory evacuation notice. And maybe about 45 minutes after that, I received a phone call from my girlfriend, who was actually here
Yeah.
in the courtroom
Why don't you go
today.
ahead, Leela, because I'll probably have to ask you some questions. Go ahead and stand up next to Marcus, please. Go ahead, Marcus, continue.
So at about 20:45, I received a distress phone call from Leela that she was stranded, Your Honor, and she was crying on the phone and seemed like she had no other options.
I mean, from what I saw all over the news, they were telling everybody to evacuate. Was there not help? Did you ignore evacuation warnings? Why were you still there? And was there anybody else to help you leave?
Your Honor, I stayed behind to help out as well. It was my community and my neighbors, and I'm a hairstylist, and I see these people once a month or every 2 weeks, and
So you
it felt
decided
wrong.
to stay where? In your apartment or
on my street.
on your street to help people?
Yes.
But at a certain point, the firefighters were going to tell you you got to leave.
Yeah.
There was that mandatory evacuation. Did you leave?
I did. I got in my
Okay.
car, I packed up all my things, and I couldn't even get out of my street. The traffic was incredibly bad. It was
Okay.
really bad.
I understand that. Rows of cars abandoned. So then what happened then?
I was stuck.
Okay.
And, you know, I live at the bottom of the hill, and things just got really bad very quickly as far as the air and the
I understand.
the
I
vibe
understand.
all around me.
But how did he get in to find you? And where were you?
I was still in front of my street, and he parked the car. I didn't even see the car, and he followed my pin location, because we have each other's location, and eventually we met up.
But how could you get up if all the streets were closed and people abandoned their cars?
We walked back to the car that he left behind a few streets away, and we tried to leave in that car.
Okay, all right. And what happened then?
Well, we drove maybe like 2 minutes, didn't get too far.
Perhaps I can elaborate a little bit on that, Your Honor. Part of my training allows me not to put myself ahead of other lives.
I understand. I
And
get
so-
it. But part of your training also understands what's logical and what you should do to help somebody.
That's correct. But when it comes to saving the life of loved ones, Your Honor, and I will admit in that moment, perhaps the options that were there had narrowed down to just knowing the only car that I knew was available, the only car that I knew that I could trust that could get me there, because all the other neighbors, as Ethan mentioned, they had offered to help, but they were also taking care of their families, and I didn't want to bring them into it. And I knew that.
So you took your friend's car.
So I took the only car that I knew.
It doesn't matter if it's a Honda Accord 1997 or a priceless Mustang. The point is not that. The point is you also had other options. And my feeling is, because I feel like you're not telling me everything, I feel that you ignored evacuation orders and closed roads. How could there be a way in unless you had some information that you were able to get through friends or however that you got in? And that's what I find so disturbing.
Your Honor, I have a radio that I'm able to keep in touch with some of my fellow colleagues to understand how traffic was running at that point and where the emergency locations were set up. So I knew that if I had taken certain back roads and avoided major highways, I'll be able to reach.
So that's the car. So then I understand you had to abandon the car?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we had to abandon the car on one of the highways after we had reached a point where I could not use it anymore.
Your Honor, I had to force him out of the car. I mean, we stayed until the longest point.
I understand, and I think you are brave. Marcus, please do not misunderstand me. What you did, saving her, is honorable.
Thank
but
you,
it
Your
was
Honor.
stupid.
Coming up,
Because you know what? Every precious minute and moment is going to affect how fast I get to her, as much as it would have affected you.
you're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Ethan Caldwell, who is suing Marcus Reed for property damage.
You know, at first, when I read the facts and your statement and I reviewed your evidence from you guys, that's what I thought. Okay, he did something noble, and a life is more important than a car. But then I saw your Instagram post, and that completely threw me off.
Your Honor, if I could just interject there, that Instagram post, yes, perhaps I could have timed the posting on that a different time, but
That's not
in
what
my
I'm
line of
thinking
work,
when
I
I'm
was-
thinking of, I'm going to go save Cinder because she's in Altadena and she has no way of getting out. Let's say this is the Eden fire. Or I know she's in danger somewhere. I'm going to go, I'm going to rush. The last thing I'm going to think about is posting on Instagram. Because you know what? Every precious minute and moment is going to affect how fast I get to her, as much as it would have affected you.
Your Honor, he didn't post it lightly. I mean, he does it to inspire other people, and it was a time
But this was one of the largest catastrophes, natural disasters we've had in California. You cannot justify that at that moment when people lost everything, that it's okay to post on social media. Who thinks about dropping everything? Oh, let me do a little selfie, let everybody know I'm going to save somebody. You don't do that. So that to me stumped me, Marcus. Because why would you do that? And why would you put the car in the picture? I don't understand if you're like, oh my God, you guys, I'm gonna try to save my girlfriend. Wish me luck. Look at this fire. This is out of control. That's a different post as you're running. A lot of people did that. That I understand. But duty calls? You weren't on duty.
Coming up,
I just want him to clean up his own mess this time, and not me.
why'd you have to bring me here, though?
you're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Ethan Caldwell, who is suing Marcus Reed for property damage.
Did you say your car was stolen? Obviously, in order
Yes.
to get.
Yes, Your Honor.
Really? Stolen?
I mean, what's he gonna say?
What else am I
my
gonna
friend borrowed it with my permission. He had to tell them the truth. He took it without my permission.
Your Honor, I know it might seem like I'm trying to take advantage of a situation here, but
Well, why didn't you use, and you had other options. If you got to where you got with that inside information, you could have taken somebody's truck, SUV, something, right? You could have. When your best friend, your brother that you grew up with said to you, why did you take my car? What was your response?
Your Honor, it wasn't mine, but how we've grown up sharing everything, I would expect him to understand that when it came to saving my girlfriend, I wouldn't have to explain to him just how important this would be. And yeah, I could have taken somebody else's car.
What would you have done, Ethan, if he said to you, I'm going to use the Ford Mustang to save Leela? What would you have done?
I would have let him, and I would have tried to help, or I would have came with my other car and not that car to come help him and say, but he's done this before. This isn't the first time that he's expected me to just deal with it because his heart's in the right place. I used to have a signed MLB bat that he took to the park and got broken. In college, I had a signed Kobe Bryant jersey that my dad gave me, and he brought that to a party to show it off, and it got stolen. Like, this is the last straw. And I'm not asking him to go to jail. I just want him to pay the difference of what the insurance won't, because I put that money in afterwards to fix that car when my dad passed. I just want him to clean up his own mess this time, and not me.
Why'd you have to bring me here, though? Can we at least figure this out some other place?
You wouldn't do it. You're not even sorry.
No, you don't know that.
Did you ever apologize for taking his car?
I did, Your Honor.
Yes.
Judge Perez's verdict when Justice for All returns. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez.
Fire aside these facts alone, I don't care if you're brothers, if you're best friends, if you're acquaintances, you took something that didn't belong to you and you destroyed it. Therefore, since you had possession of the car, you are responsible. The insurance did reimburse him for part of the car, but he's asking for $12,500 that he used, and he gave us the itemized list that within the last 4 or 5 months he spent that much money, so he's allowed to sue for the difference. We're putting him back exactly where he was. What you did was honorable, and I'm glad you saved your girlfriend's life, but it was dangerous, and you had other options, and I cannot ignore that. And you know what really pushed it over the edge was when you posted yourself, basically saying, look at me, here I go in this red, beautiful car. Because that, to me, showed the intent was a little skewed. The intentions of saving were there, but they were a little skewed. So based on the evidence, I will grant the plaintiff's claim in the amount of $12,500. I really wish both of you luck, and I hope that you can find a way to maintain your friendship, because that's more important, okay? So good luck, guys.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $12,500.
Leila, I'm glad you're safe. I just wish I didn't lose my friends and my car.
I don't know what to say. I wish I had other ways, but we'll see what happens from here.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.